Okay, I realized my video before was longer than I anticipated. Also, our young doll wound up with very tiny legs. So, I'm going to make another one and show you how to do it, but try and do it faster this time, so it's the quick play. So, I just want to point out her hair before we go on. So, after I finished making her entirely, I unwound the hair, and that's why it looks so fun here. But I'm going to show you how to make a nice Brigid doll for Imbolc. And I'm going to put Brigid in her little chair over here for now. Boop. So all you need for this is, so I can show you how to make some things for her. Go bring forth your scissors. I do not use my fabric scissors for this. This is my like safety scissors type of thing, because I'm going to be cutting yarn and other things with this that are not just fabric. So if fabric scissors matters to you, as it should, you won't need fabric scissors. Just regular scissors will do for this. Now, if you're going to do furniture stuff, which I may make a separate video, for that you'll just need like a cardboard box and some paper that you can either draw on, like have one of your kids draw on, or you can get some, like if you have stationery type paper, that'll help just make everything fancier. But if you don't have fancy paper and you have regular paper that you draw on, I think that makes it cute too. But basically, you're gonna cut up cardboard, glue some paper to it, you can set it aside to let it dry. I was gonna say cool, and we'll deal with that later. But yeah, so to make Brigid, so our problem last time, I'm pulling from the wrong end here. There we go. Our problem last time was that I kind of did the wrong size. You can either kind of make a just the head and torso and arms of Brigid and not have legs and just have it as a dress, or you can make her with legs. And this time I'm going to make her with legs. Basically last time I made her with like kind of a super long torso. I wound up just making it little legs, make it look a little better. So we're gonna spine this up. This is going to be folded in half for our body. So you kind of want what you're gathering here, kind of keep in mind that's going to be half the thickness of your body. And I don't know about you, but I tend to make it a little thinner than I generally want it. So I try to remind myself to overdo it rather than underdo it. So if you're working with, so when I was making my other one, I had a kind of a hard back piece of acrylic I was using, and I had the two different sizes be the length and the width. But I want Brigid to be taller or have legs that are proportionate, I guess. So I'm going to make it from this longer book, but use that smaller thing for the rest of my assorted outfit bits and whatnot, because I like the journal size of those. They were working well enough for me. Let's see here. So that looks like enough. So just to doubt myself, I'll do 3 more. There we go. But yeah, that'll be nice big cup. And then I'm gonna cut it along. Hardcovers are good for this because it gives you a little room between the pages. If you're using a book, when I was a kid, I made these all the time with using books. So I didn't want to hurt my precious books. So a hardcover doublet is better for this test than a soft cover. Plus a soft cover, you kind of bend and warp it because you're binding this so tightly. I'm trying to remember that what you can see is inside this hoop. So I'm cutting along. A sharper scissor would surely help me. But I'm going to, as I said before, use these scissors for things that you don't want to use fabric scissors on. Let me put that to the side. So, oh, I never cast off here. Thank you. Boop. Alright. I'm just gonna lay this out. Make sure I got everybody, as it were. Because I kind of want to find the middle. Oh, longer. There we go. So I'm going to find the middle. And I'm going to put a little tie there to help me remember where it is. You don't need to keep the tie there, but it just helps me to note it. This looks to be about the place. In general, excuse me, when we're tying stuff here, the tighter you make the tie, the better it looks overall. Because a loose tie does, like, I don't know, it just doesn't work as well for some reason. All right, so we're gonna leave this like this. Lengthy on both sides. Oh, it still looks like it's gonna be short. We'll see. Okay, and then I've already pre-wound the rest of these guys. So each of these have a purpose. This is gonna be the bottom part of the dress. This is gonna be your hair, and this is gonna be the top part of the dress. You can kind of see from over here. I actually want the hair next. So I started here and wound and stopped, so you can see there. I'm going to go ahead and trim that off so I can collect this. Gum through it, apparently. But this piece of acrylic is nice because it gives me very... And I'm doing things where I want shorter stuff too. Like say I wanted this to actually be the length of the doll, then in theory I could have used the sides for the shorter parts of the dress, or the hair if I wanted it to be shorter hair. But I like Brigid's hair to be wild and free. So we're just gonna trim through here. Chew on it. There we go. And there we go. Alrighty. There we are. Okay. And again, I'm going to find that center. It's not super important that you tie this. It's more that it makes it easier for me to realize where the center is if I have a tie there. So don't think it's super important if you're thinking you're confident in your ability to eyeball it. Alright. Okay, so we need a bit of our... All right, so now we're going to go ahead and make the head. So we're going to fold this close. Oh, it's going to be a nice big head. Ready? All right, so first things first. Now I'm going to again tie the hair. Yep. I'm going to tie it. Yep. Try and keep it under control here. Tie it nice and tight. Ooh. There we go. All right. And now that I've tied it, if I wanted to, I could snip this thing indicating the middle of the hair, but for now I'm going to leave it. I'm going to get just the body parts. There we go. Pull it the other way. All right. And now we're going to tie it down here. And keep in mind, so part of this is you got your front and your back side, right? So if you got knots that you're not going to trim back, or you feel like they're a little messy, you can always make that the back side. And I'm going to try and make this neck nice and tight. Yep. If you have a friend that's lend you a finger to point that down on. Oh, I like this side better. So I'm going to spin my necktie over in this direction so that it sits behind. There we go. See that? She's already looking fabulous. All right. So, woo. Okay. So we'll leave the hair for now. Got a very, what's her name? Starlight? Starbright? What's her name? Starlight? Starlight. Yeah. Rainbow Bright. That's it. We got a Rainbow Bright hair going on here. I like it. Okay. I'm going to trim this guy, I think, because I don't need it. But maybe I'll leave it for now anyway. Maybe I'll find a purpose for it. I'll leave it for now. Alright. So for now, I'll put that hair to the side. And we're going to worry about making the rest of the body. So we're going to need 2 arms and the rest of the body. So we're going to pull some from each side to make the arms. Now, I find it a little better if you don't pull from like I pull from the hair, you're like, okay, that makes sense, right? But weirdly, I find if I pull a little bit from the back, it looks just a little better than if I pull, evenly from the sides. Now, sometimes I'll like actually count this out and be like, okay, I'm doing, I don't know, 12 or something like that for my arms. So let's see if I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Does that look like it would be a good amount? Yeah, we could do that. So here we'll do that. 5, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put the rest back. Is that a good size arm? Yeah, I think that'll make a good size arm. So, making our pile of 5 and 5 and 5. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're braiding these, right? Ooh, don't lose it. I'm going to braid these guys. Now I'm going to braid it all the way down and tie it at the bottom. And then I'll go back and shorten it after, once I decide how long I want my arms to be. Sorry. This makes me need to crack my nails. Crack my fingers when I'm braiding. Let's see. Do. So if you watched the other video, you saw that the arms kind of came out just the right length, which is the, fun of doing it that other size. But I just, I wanted to either not have the legs or have the legs the right size. So, I was like, I can do that better. I don't have to leave it like that. Though I might just leave the old video up as well because I'm also amused by it because, I don't know, there's a whole part of me that's like, oh, maybe this Brigid is somehow, related to someone of the she and has interesting ancestry that gave her interesting proportions as opposed to boring old regulated proportions or whatever. So I still like her. I like the other one, but in the sorry, concentrating on that. In the concept of making this a tutorial, to be able to do it one way or the other. I'm going to do it in a way that makes a little more sense to me. It also is a little more clean cut because when I looked at the timestamp on it after I was done, I was like, oh no, that's too long. So it might just take that long because I'm already, looks like 15 minutes in. I'm doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. But yeah, these Brigid dolls are so like Imbolc is the time of the year where we're welcoming back to the light, and you invite the Brigid to come visit you in your home. I was saying in the other one that it kind of reminds me a little bit of the Elf on the Shelf. I'm not super familiar with the whole mythos of the Elf on the Shelf, so but as I understand it, you have the Elf on the Shelf come visiting for a bit, and it like watches over you, stuff like that. I'm not quite sure. I don't have one myself, but it seems cute. But Brigid is not. I guess she's not watching you. You are allowed to play with her. Yeah, it's actually part of the whole thing to take her on walks with you in the early spring there, and you get little bits and bobs from the woods to decorate her, maybe like a late leaf or some neat twigs to twine in her, or first flowers or anything like that, depending on, I guess, where you are in the world, if you've got any kind of seasonal growth coming in yet. Me, no, it's very cold here. But like you have her as a guest. So part of it too is like you like the concept of like spring cleaning, right? You're cleaning your house to make sure your house is nice for Brigid to come visit. You get rid of some stuff maybe you don't need anymore. You also it's also a good time for doing crafts, like preparing for the coming year, getting anything ready. You need to get things ready. A couple like little short ones in here. I'm just going to trim them off so they're not sticking out later. Alright, so now we're going to ink the rest of the bod. Alrighty. Let's see. So, I guess if you want a bosom, you could do a bosom. I usually just do a torso here, but let's have fun and make a little chest. Here we go. There we go. Just because I think she's going to be a little longer than I'm intending. Maybe. Oh, wait. Let me put my ties in the back here. Alright, this is our back. Oh, I don't know. Oh, I like both sides. That's good. Embarrassment of riches. But there we go. Okay. The other way. Let's tie this part you in theory you won't see because it'll be underneath her outfit. So you can decorate a Brigid doll in various ways. Like if you just made the poppet like this, you could always go on to like sew her an outfit if you want to sew her an outfit. So that was very loose. I'm gonna go around and tie it on the other side. All right. There we go. Now let me tighten it up quite a bit more. All right. Okay. So if that's our like chest, then I'm gonna make one more down a bit lower for like the hips. Okay. You probably see me again and again trying to fix like bunches. If you have it where like it comes up weird like that, you can generally pull it down from below before you finish things off, which is why I take the time to do that. Not the end of the world if it's that way. There's a, you know, wonderfully rustic part of making these that I always feel like the imperfections make it kind of thing. So don't worry about it too much if it's not 100% perfect, because it shouldn't be. It should look handmade with all the ups and downs that come with that. All right, so from here we're gonna split the bottom into legs. All right, and I mean you could count this out. I am not going to, but basically you're just trying to half and half it. And then we're going to braid again. If you're feeling super fancy, you could do ties along it too, like tie here, and tie here. Kind of gives it like a pantaloon sort of thing. I guess here, I could show you real quick. Here, this string here. So like, do like that, and then you do it again, like that, right? And that also makes, you know, the thing. I always generally braid my limbs, so to me it's just part of, I don't know, the magic of making your own thing is you have your own quirks in making it. So I always braid. Doesn't mean you have to braid, doesn't mean I'll always braid, but I like doing the braid, so I'm going to do the braid. I feel like it does make a shorter leg, but it is what it is. I like a braid. Gives me more of a solid limb. So fine. Like if I'm letting it play, that's it. So see, I've got that loose thing there. If I tug on it, and in theory, the one in the bunch I'm working with here will flatten out. There you go. Just so. This does make a short leg. We are going to shorten these arms. Okay. Tie the ankle. I think I was saying before, so you could sew them a little dress or wrap something around her, like a handkerchief or something like that, to give her something to wear. I guess what she wears is probably, you know, kind of traditional house to house sort of thing, but I usually do a green dress, which I feel like I see a lot, so maybe that's a traditional thing. Since she's a spring goddess, green dress makes sense to me. All right, just gonna tie this off. And there we go. All right. That looks like it's gonna hold. Oh, no, it looks loose. Keep tying until I got a knot I feel is secure. I feel like it's not gonna come undone on me if I cut it short. All right. And then you can either loop these back through and down through the bit, or you could trim it off. I'm gonna trim these guys a little bit because I'm gonna use one of the ones from here to help me tie off the other side if I can find one long enough. That looks good. I'm gonna shape the feet as best I can here. Oh, I actually did 2 loops now that I'm looking at. I could release it, but it seems to be load bearing here, so I'll leave it. But because it's there, I'll push these guys under. There we go. Ah, that's a fun foot. Alright, that's a sturdy leg. Trim off these side bits here. Okay. Again, just breaking this into thirds. And if it bears mentioning, like, I try to make it a tight braid, but like, for me, I feel like the tight braid is gonna keep the doll together. I always expect dolls to be played with, you know, harshly. So I tried, when I make it a doll, you know, my braid, I'm always like, double stitch, make sure it's gonna survive rough play. So I'm making it a tight one so that hopefully it doesn't come terribly loose if say my niece or nephew get a hold of it and want to have some fun with it. So, all right. There we go. So one of these legs is a little shorter than the others. But if I wanted to, I could pull a little bit from one of the others to kind of shore it up. As long as I didn't think it was gonna take too much out of the braid. And then we're at the point where I could tie it. All right. Try and tie it. Ooh, sorry, Bridget. I can't be comfortable. Ooh. All right. I got one strand that's coming away here. Again, I could tuck this in and under, or I could cut it off. Either works. Same thing with these guys. They could either be pushed in. Boop, excuse me. Boop. Pardon me. Coming in. There we go. Alright. I'm going to trim down this foot. There we go. Alright. Now, she has very impressive arms going on here. Perhaps a bit too long. So, I'm going to take one of these lengthy bits here and trim this down. I generally find the arm probably goes around mid-thigh, so this will probably work here. Let's tie it and see how it looks. Now, I will say that you don't have to cut these. You don't have to cut the arms off. I know lots of people who tie it up like this and make it into a door hang, like have even longer hands and have it be like there's a whole like goddess with the hands over the head, like she's in a particular pose and hang it as a wreath around the house type of thing. But I like to put mine out on like it's chilling on the furniture type of thing. So I'm going to have my hands free. All right. I think I'm happy with that length. Maybe just a scooch longer. You might imagine that is going to loosen it up. Oh, yeah, it's too long maybe. I don't know. I like them to be able to cross their arms. Yeah, I feel like that's a good length. Okay, we're staying. All right, gonna get another one of these long fingers and secure it. Since I moved it, it might be loose now, so I'm gonna retie it. And then I'm gonna go on the other side and make sure I'm tying at a similar height before I cut off the hands. I cut off the hands together, or the excess arm, I'll say. Not purposely cutting off her hands or anything. Okay, so get another long finger to get tied off here. Okay, measure these out. Okay, should be right about here. There we go. That is super loose, so I'm going to cut another one to tie it off again. And there we go. All right, double checking, and it looks about right. Honestly, this new arm looks a little longer. Go up a little bit. Is it okay? Actually, from the back, it looks to be there and there. It looks to be the right size. I'm gonna have faith in my sizing. Trim off my excess here. Gimme. Like I said, I could also tuck those in, but I chose not to. And I'm gonna leave about a hand span. There we go. There's our hand. Go. And how long is your hand span? All right, about there. Okay. There you go. Alrighty. So I've got her rocking her hair here. So you could braid the hair. You can, so like I said, for this, you can unwind it, and I just think it looks amazing when it's unwound. But to do that, you're just pulling. I think this one has 4 strands. Just pulling them apart. I find it's usually a little easier to go down here and tug them apart into 2s. All right. So that does take forever. I'm not going to do that on camera. This is what it looks like when it's done. You can kind of adjust as you need, or if you want to like cut bangs. I, for one, don't believe in having bangs on my Brigid, so I just have it wild and free. But you do whatever you like. It's your doll. And then for the eyes, I just take a little something here, and you find where you want it, right? And you just take one strand get under there with the color that you want your eye. Come here. Tie a little, very tight knot, because if this unwinds, the eye is going to come off. So very tight knot. If you're adjusting the height, do so now. Be careful not to pull the string that it's on free. There we go. Done the same before by, so like tie it here one place, right? And with a different color, you'd tie it lower type of thing to make like a nose, or if you wanted to make a mouth, you tie it there, trim it off, and tie it again over here, have a little mouth type thing. I just don't I feel like the mouth is implied. It's good. Whoop. There we go. I will unbraid her hair later. But like, say if I wanted bangs, right, I could unbind or leave it as such and then trim it as I wanted, however you wanted that to work out. It's a lot of fun to play with the hair. All right. But now we should need some clothes. So where's the, where'd the rest of the thing go? Oh, yes. Okay. So last time I think I did the dress first and then I did the top. So this time we'll do the top first. All right. And where's my scissors? There's my scissors. Get out of here, tiny pieces of yarn. All right. We're gonna trim it. Boop. All right. So the one that we had before is just, you take it behind your neck like it's a scarf, right? And then you wrap it around in front. And this just mimics a kind of shawl. And then I just gently tie at the waist here. Now you could take a minute and braid this whole thing for a slightly different look, right? But again, I'm hoping to get this within a time frame for you. So I'm gonna go ahead and tie this along the bosom line, I guess, if you will, or what have you. But tie that down there. There we go. And now I'm also spread these out a little bit. Nope. Oh. I'm going to take another string and I'm going to tie it along the waistline because I think you'll see this makes it look just slightly more, we get to the point where we're tying on the bottom of the dress. This helps fill in the look a little bit, but this will mean now that the shorter strings are under, whereas in the original one, I did them as a little over mantle. Yeah, same difference, as personal preference type of thing. If you made this bigger, you could also have it be fuller if you want. Like, I feel like that's full enough for me anyway. But like, you could help kind of puff up the skirt a little bit by having more here if you so desired. Now we're going to do the bottom skirt. I'm gonna get a string ready. Boop. I'm gonna cut this in here. So again, I'm gonna need the middle point. So hold on to this so it doesn't go anywhere. I feel like the scissors heard me say it wasn't too sharp before. Now it's like, oh, I'll prove it. If you don't think I'm sharp, I won't be sharp. I don't need to be sharp. now I have very thick. Okay, so I'm going to tie this. I know where my middle is. Tie this. I actually want to make this pretty tight because this is going to be going underneath, or I guess essentially between her legs, and coming up from there, so that it it's kind of like hair on the other side. I guess is the best way to put it. Put that to the side. You kind of want to get the green that you have going on here bound one way to the other for the legs, so that it doesn't get lost in the process here. All right, so now that we've got these guys here, again, get your shorter guys going upwards with the legs. Get the longer guys going downwards. Poor Brigid. Okay. Kind of want to give a tug. Give her a little wedgie. She's okay. Ooh. And we are going to tie it around the waistline. And again, you're going to want to tie this nice and tight. Okay. And again, if need be, make sure it's tight. Okay. Just gonna double knot it to be sure. All right. And now we're gonna let it all fall down. Whoop. Hang free. There we go. Alrighty. Now, got a nice big floofy dress. Make sure you're spreading it out a little bit so that it gets to the sides, because it's going to want a bunch in the back and the front. There we go. That might have been too much green, honestly. Before it wasn't full enough, now it's possibly too full, but I think it works. There we go. Alrighty. Oh, Lily's peeking out. Okay. Ah, just long enough. Look at that. Just over her legs. Perfect. Oh no, you poor thing. The dress was too much. Made your eye come loose. Alright. Well, here, we'll just trim it off for now. I'll fix it later. I must not a double knot of that. Alright. Okay. So as I said, you could do all sorts of fun things with her hair. You could braid it. You could unravel it. But this is our Brigid. And then, of course, if you have bits and bobs like I do around the house, you can decorate her from there. Don't go too wild, but one thing I love doing is a little apron. So apron is simple enough. Just need like a corner of cloth. Let's see here. Perfect. Here we go. I might show the trim this down a little bit and make it nicer, but just so you can get the general idea, I would take a bit of fabric. You don't actually even need to do sewing here. You could just fold it over, wrap it around the stomach there, and give it a tie around the back. that. Whoop. And there we go. Have a little apron. Stuff like that. I usually trim it a little differently to have more of a shape, but just so that you can see essentially the finished look there. Let's see. Oh, she's kind of out of frame, sorry. There we go. Oh yeah, there's our girl. Alright. Here we are. And here she is with the fun hair. Alright. And then, let's see, I guess it just takes that long. I was also going to show you too how to make some furniture for her. So if you just want to make the doll, there you go. If you wanted to be able to like sit her about the house and let her, you know, hang out on the mantle or something like that, I'll show you how to do that. So before I was telling you to glue some paper to a board. So this is just, you know, stacking shaping, right? And I just took regular glue or a glue stick. The key thing to remember is just to make sure you're getting all the way up to the edge on these things. Where's the papers I have? Okay. Should have had this upside down. There we go. So it doesn't need to be a ton of glue. It just needs to be enough to make sure it's all covered. There you go. So like this one's not done. And then likewise over here. And here. Depending on what you're gonna make, you'll need. So this is just how we're gluing things down, right? Make sure it's all nice and flat. It's glued down. All right, and then you set that to dry. Fortunately, I have already prepared something. So let me put the glue away. So we actually don't need glue anymore. So then you can use your scissors or X-Acto knife. I'm going to use the X-Acto knife. Cut out some bits for her. I'm going to make a little chair. Obviously, if this is something you're doing with the kids, I would highly recommend the adult be the one with the, you know, dealing with the knife part. All right. So we're doing a chair, right? Here's a very simple one, like that. All you need to do is you're gonna cut out like an L shape essentially, right? And you're gonna want it to be, these are gonna work together, right? So they're gonna kind of be a matching sort of situation. So I want the white parts to be separated out. So I'm going to do it like this. Now, I would love my cutting board to be here, but I don't have it with me today. It's out and about. So there we go. There we are. And you can kind of use this. So this is, I did this poorly. This is going to be on the same side. I'll just make it like that. It'll make life easier to have them be exactly the same. But ideally, you'd want to glue it to, or be cutting it the other way around. I just glued it to the paper in a silly way. for the outside bit, you want it to be mirrored. If you have a pattern like that. If you had just drawing or crayons on the outside, or wanted to color it or tape stuff onto it later, you could do that too. So I make a back to my chair and a bottom, and I just do that by cutting some strips. So this one can be our little seat. So it doesn't have to be a huge affair here. Actually, this part might be easier with the scissors. Let's do it like this. All right. Yep. There we go. Alright. Same thing on the other side. And you could either cut this out entirely if you want it to close nicely, or push it up or push it down. I'll just cut it off. Okay. So on this side, use the blade to get all the way through. There we go. And that was this one, right? Yeah. I think so. How was this one? That one? Oh, what's that one? Okay. Not quite big enough. All right. Angling them also sometimes helps them go in a little better. There we go. I'm not making this hole big enough. Gonna help us down. There we go. Okay. And then again, we're repeating on the mirrored side. So. You could use a ruler and be a little more precise with this, but I'm just eyeballing it for the video. Alrighty. Okay, and then likewise you want same sort of thing up here. Let's start up here. We could do a going once. So for the seat, I like the back and the front because I feel like it holds together or it supports it better. But the top could be whatever. It's just something the doll is leaning back against. And the doll is not really super duper heavy, so it's not like it needs the same level of support. Alright, and then let's see, right about door. Right about there. There we go. Good size. Good enough. Obviously, too, you could tape these or use various means of putting it together, but I feel like these are fun to do because you're just doing it with, you know, packing materials or paper and whatnot. So, like, when you're all done with your Brigid or your situation at the end of the time frame, well, you know, can be recycled again. And here she is. So there she is in her little chair. She's hanging out on your mantle, waiting for you to come join her for a walk when things are all cleaned up. I thought I had one more. Oh, here we go. So I also have a bed. So this was, again, just this sort of thing, right? I just glued a piece of paper on it. I'll trim off the excess, or I'll fold it down. But for a bed, I do the same thing, right? Or I could glue something on or put a smaller box under here and have this be somewhere where when she's done for the day, she can take a rest, right? Because I know on my side of things, my niece and nephew love, you know, when they're playing house and whatnot, they love it when they can go take a nap too. And it's kind of, it's tradition to give Brigid a bed to rest in too, so, yeah, that's what they could do. But yeah, so there's various ways of doing a bed, but I would basically kind of cut a, these are not quite dry yet, but kind of do a, there we go. One of these, about the same height. About, oh, it's way too big. So yeah, you plug your little holes in again and measure them out and bend these in. There we go. I'm trying to end it on an hour, like, so I won't do it right now, but then you'd have a little bed for her, and you could put a little handkerchief on there for her as you know, a blanket, anything like that. So yeah, so that's our Brigid's. Enjoy. Hope you had fun.